Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums, ready to race to you. These days arrive.
10:07, 10:07, hour number 2.
Potsy and Fonzie here, 89 WLS. We're so happy about those job numbers. I feel like going down to the malt shop.
Well, we have some leftover business from the debate. I was tuning around last night watching TV, and I saw this video of Al Gore.
Right.
I know you're going to hear audio of it, but I saw this video. He has his own network, Current.
Yeah, I saw it.
And apparently they're not in HD because it was very fuzzy.
Well, which is good because watching a gigantic, like Jabba the Hutt type creature there, it would have scared me.
I haven't seen him in years. He's changed.
Yes, his eyes are like weird. Just imagine if you were president.
And the odd thing was,
thanks, King Chad.
The people that were on the panel with him on set, they weren't in the picture. It was just him. So you'll hear a couple voices, and it is almost like, he's speaking words of wisdom.
But couldn't you see on the video their little hands like on the desk, like as if they were kneeling before him? Like, no? I thought I saw something like that.
So
maybe it was fuzzy.
So anyway, he was trying to explain why the president had a bad night.
At the debate.
And he got into the whole, Denver it's called the Mile High City because it's a mile high. And here's what he said.
Obama arrived in Denver at 2 p.m. today. When you go to 5,000 feet,
exactly,
and you only have a few hours to adjust.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
I don't know what's worse, the moronic stuff from a man who people thought should have been president, or that kind of like nodding, like, that's interesting.
And he went on to talk about how Romney, did his preparation in Denver, so he was all acclimated to the.
He should have been on the president instead of sneaking away for like one of those Marlboro Reds. Should have been like doing oxygen, huh?
I have no idea what he should have been doing. He had an off night. Romney had a good night. He had a good night. That happens. Remember the two horses affirmed in Aladar? This is years ago.
No, I remember they each had 4 legs and they're brown.
Two great race horses, and Aladar always kept losing to affirmed. It wasn't because Aladar was a bad horse. They were really good races, and it's just the way it happened, and that's what it was on Wednesday night.
Great performance by Romney, a bad one by Obama, and now 7.8. It's over. Forget it. Let's go.
Now, yesterday I joked about. Perhaps we'll find out yesterday that there is something big going on in the world, that maybe they were taking down some terrorist, and the president was distracted by that. And then yesterday, this whole Medicare thing, this big strike force was announcing its $400 million in fraud. They were cracking down on, announcing arrests. And Eric Holder himself was going to do the press conference, and somebody thought, well, maybe that's it. They're going to try to, the president was involved, given the go on that.
Is there like a conspiracy theory here?
No, I was just saying.
Oh, okay.
So but I joked about that, right? In the morning, on the air. So yesterday, Bob Woodward did a national radio show. And here's what Bob Woodward said.
Now, I've not done any reporting on this, but I'm going to give you my honest view. Something happened, maybe in foreign affairs. They got some intelligence report or who knows, the things that can happen in a president's life that distract him.
There you go.
Well, actually,
Bob Woodward.
Off the air, we were thinking, was he looking at his BlackBerry directing Jack Bauer on some, intelligence operation during the debate? That's why he wasn't looking at Romney. But there you have Bob Woodward putting that idea in our heads that maybe, there's some kind of intelligence.
Now, I got a call yesterday from somebody who gave me a person who kind of said this could have been what was distracting him, and I have not confirmed it with a second source. I usually like to have 2 sources, but
this is radio, so
I will just throw. This person told me. Apparently, this person said, the older of the two Obama daughters was going out on a date. Hooray! And he was concerned that he wasn't there to meet the young man.
I don't know how you could date a daughter of a president. Does the Secret Service drive? You know?
I'm just telling you what I was just telling you what I was told.
If you try to give her the goodnight kiss, you get tased.
No,
what?
I don't have.
Tase
I don't
me,
have.
bro.
I have two sons. I don't have any daughters.
Me neither.
So I don't know.
Sons.
I don't know what it's like when the daughter goes out on a date and you're worried. But maybe that would just be enough to distract, just to put him a little off his game.
Secret Service, tasers, that'll keep everybody in line. Okay.
Marty in Lake Zurich. Good morning, Marty. Welcome to 89 WLS.
Hello.
Hey, Marty.
Hey, guys.
Well, you want to talk? What do you want to talk about?
I just wanted to follow up.
That's
on
how it works.
You made about the 40 mile per gallon vehicle.
Okay.
How that would offset the price of $4 gallon gas.
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's a couple problems with that assumption. Number one, that would have to assume that gas prices wouldn't rise if consumption of gas went down by 50%, which, as long as there's no competition to gasoline at the pump, that's not going to happen. Gas will continue to rise. And the other issue is, at 40 miles per gallon, it's only about 25% higher than, say, what the average mile for a new car is today. I think it's about 34 miles per gallon.
Yeah, but if you have a car that's only getting 20 and you turned it in for a car that gets 40, you're getting twice as much gas for the same, for twice as much price, but you're getting twice as many miles.
That's true for today. But that's if everybody was driving 40 mile per gallon cars, then the price of gas would go up accordingly.
You know why, Marty and Jake, I'll correct both of you. You know why the price of gas goes up? Because the federal government prints money through the Federal Reserve, and the people that run the oil companies and the oil barons in Saudi Arabia say, you know what, that dollar isn't the same, so we're going to raise our price so we don't lose it.
Well, that's certainly
How's
true,
that?
but also they have a profit margin, and so if you're going to do something that's going to cut back consumption of their product by 50%, and they're the only source of that product, they're going to raise their price accordingly.
Yeah, but they still have to operate in the market, and they just can't jack it up just to be jacking
What
it
market?
up.
Yeah, that's my point. There is no market. They're the only source in the market. Is there somewhere else you can go besides your gas station to get gas for your car? Is there?
Well, but if there isn't the demand,
other suppliers of fuel.
But if there isn't a demand for it, it's not going to go up. It'll go down because people.
There'll always be a demand for it. They'll do the same thing that they've always done. They'll cut back on production. They'll.
You don't have a can-do attitude, do you, Marty?
Of course I do.
You don't have a positive can-do attitude.
I want that Chevy. I want that Volt.
You need to have
electric
more
car.
competition in fuel sources. You need to have more supply, and then that would be the only thing that's going to drive down.
You mean like
price of
natural
fuel.
gas cars?
No, but see, if you have... No, he's wrong economically on that. 10:15, time
Everybody's
for WS
wrong
traffic at 89
economically.
WS. I've got my whiteboard out.
We're doing the math now. This is economics 101.
If I have oil and the demand goes down, that's his premise. If the demand goes down and I want to get rid of that oil, I'll take less dollars because I don't want the oil sitting in my backyard. I need to move it. I need to make some money off that oil, right?
Well, the problem with that is that the demand has gone up dramatically from China and India over the past decade to the point where that is kind of what.
Okay, so then if you have a car that gets 40 miles to a gallon versus 20, if you're paying that $4 a gallon because demand's up because of China, you're getting more for your fill up than you are at 20.
But you have to drive a Prius.
No, you don't have to drive a Prius.
Or one of those
No.
things.
You're just
What do they call them?
You're just being very, very
Persnickety?
10:17. Let's go to Tim and Joe. Yeah, Tim, you're on 89 WLS.
Hey, good morning, guys.
What's on your mind?
What I think ticks off a lot of Americans and me also is the fact that Barack Obama came to the State of the Union address and said that the rich have to pay more. I found out, about 2 months ago that General Electric paid zero taxes on $14 billion in 2010. That needs to be addressed, and that's what people get pissed off about.
Well, but they didn't do anything illegal. They just followed the tax rules and regulations, of which there are pages and pages and pages of them, and they have accountants and accountants and accountants that follow the law. But
one of Barack Obama's best friends is the CEO of GE. You can't have it both ways, come to the State of the Union address and talk about the rich have to pay more, and one of his best friends who runs GE pays zero tax. As a matter of fact, got a rebate in 2010. That makes a lot of people mad. That ought to be addressed in the debates.
Yeah, but then but you still have to follow the law, Tim. Then change the law.
That's they ought to talk about that. And I think Mitt Romney kind of mentioned that we're going to talk about changing the corporate laws and things like that. But I think that would really tick off a lot of Americans if they knew that, and a lot of Americans don't know that.
995 or whatever. What was that plan? 992, 991.
I mean, there are a lot of companies that don't bring money into the United States because they have they have offshore places where they make money, other countries in the United States, and what happens is they get taxed there. If they bring that money into the United States, we tax them again, which is not right. So they don't bring the money in.
If you don't take advantage of the tax laws as written, you're a moron. The problem is we should rewrite the tax laws, fair and flat tax everywhere, and let's see what happens.
And the reason you can is because Washington is full of lobbyists and lawyers who like the system the way it is because they get paid money.
And they can go in and protect one client or one agency over another, and that's what corruption is.
Sue in Oak Brook. Good morning, Sue.
Hi. I just wanted to say, I know that President Obama, if he is nervous about his daughters going out, number one, I think it's weird that they're going out during the week on a date.
Well, that's just what I was told.
Okay,
I have not had a second confirmation on it.
Number two, he shouldn't be nervous because you know why? Now she can have free birth control. So it's not a problem. See, I'm a mother of two daughters, and I have all his crap being thrown at me, and I'm trying to raise two respectable daughters. But we've got Sandra Fluck, who a big thing is sleeping with all these guys, and let's have free birth control. What is he conveying? Well, now guess what? Karma is a bitch.
Sue, I don't know about the
I think I saw that movie.
But I do. But I would ask you, years ago, remember when what Bill Clinton was doing with when he was on the phone talking to the congressman about sending Americans to war, and he was busy having pizza and doing that other thing with Monica, and then they said that people were saying that's not really sex. I wondered how that affected parents to hear that from their children. Let's see, that's not really sex.
You know what, Monica Lewinsky, I do not agree with what she did, but he was a 40-year-old president. She was a 20-year-old girl, and he wrecked her life. And people don't seem to think, it's just like, well, that's Bill Clinton. That's okay. No, put yourself, if that was your daughter and a 42 or 43-year-old guy who is the president of the United States is coming on to your daughter, they're stupid at that age still.
All right. Thank you, Sue.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame. I think everyone should have Secret Service agents to protect their children on dates.
1021, back after this on 89 WLS.
89 WLS.
The biggest game in college football is this Saturday. Notre Dame versus Miami at the legendary Soldier Field. And we're there live starting at 4:30 p.m. from your home of the Fighting Irish, Chicago's talk leader, 89 WLS.
1028, John Kass, Jake Hartford, in for Bruce and Dan. 1037, and Jim Pedagukis. We're going to talk about how the unemployment rate got to 7.8%. A lot of questions people had in the first hour about what numbers count, what numbers don't. So we're gonna get inside those numbers then. Back to the phones. Owen in Willowbrook. Good morning, Owen.
Hey, guys. Just two quick points. On the unemployment rate, I think Mitt Romney should actually congratulate the president. Instead of having 23 million people unemployed, now we only have 22,886,000 unemployed. And at this rate, if President Obama wins the election at the end of his next term, it would only have about 26 million unemployed. And then the other thing I like to kind of wonder why, if it's okay for GE to follow the rules and pay 0% tax rate, why is it not proper for Mitt Romney to follow the tax rules and only pay 14% on his taxes?
John, you want to take that one?
I really, I think let the people decide how important that is.
There you go.
I don't know.
Take care, Owen.
Thanks, Owen.
Yeah, thanks. Good answer.
That's why John is a prominent journalist.
Right. Okay. That was like a stunning analysis of the question by the caller. Thank you, John Kass. All right.
I have other questions we'll get to about the latest with American Airlines, that the seats are falling apart because people are spilling coffee and soda on the hardware.
And 2 suspects just arrested in Turkey who are Tunisians, thinking that they may have had something to do with the assassination of Ambassador Stevens.
Anyway, that and again, Jim Pethokoukis talking about Inside the Numbers at 10:37 right here on 89 WLS. Right now, it's 10:30. Time for Dave Stewart with news, weather, traffic on 89 WLS.
Notre Dame, Miami. How you doing, everybody? I'm Chet Coppock. Fighting Irish coverage begins with my pregame at 4:30 this Saturday right here on 89 WLS.
10:37. I want to remind you to go to WLSAM.com for breaking news, weather, traffic, and more. You can also download podcasts, listen live, and check out our exclusive photo and video galleries. Get it all at WLSAM.com. Jake Hartford, John Kass.
Yeah, and we're here talking about those numbers that some people, the unemployment numbers that some people who I guess hear David Axelrod in their ear, think are wonderful. But I'm told that we have Jim Pethokoukis from the American Enterprise Institute, who's one of the top analysts of these numbers.
Good morning, Jim.
Morning. How you guys doing?
Hey, Jim, tell us how great the jobs report really is.
Well, you know what? I want jobs to be created. I want the unemployment rate to fall. But I want good jobs to be created. And what a lot of people don't know, it is that in that unemployment rate, if you work 1 hour a week, that's treated the same that if you got a job, $100,000 and great benefits. The reason we had this big drop in the unemployment rate was that we had a lot of part-time jobs. We still have all these people dropping out of the workforce. And the economists I talked to this morning, they find that basically they think a lot of this is a statistical quirk, a one-time only thing, and they find it completely implausible that we can have this kind of drop in the unemployment rate with an economy which everybody agrees is barely growing. And it really would not surprise me that the next job report that comes up shows the unemployment rate bumping right back above 8%.
Jim, I'm looking at a story here talking about the numbers. It says total employment as measured by the household survey rose by 873,000 in September to 142,974,000, the biggest 1 month jump since June of '83. And they say,
in fact, that is the exact number that some of the economists I talked to this morning find completely implausible. And these surveys can have a lot of volatility month to month. I think that's what we're seeing. I think we're really seeing a statistical aberration that completely is out of sync with an economy that is growing at a very. You would think if you just saw that number, you would guess that the economy, instead of growing at less than 2% a year, which is what it's doing, which is super slow, that it was growing more like 4 or 6%, kind of like what it was during the Reagan boom in the early 80s. That is not what we're seeing. This is a very slow economy, barely above recession stall levels, and which is why one's raised question, because the two numbers don't match. And I'm guessing the problem is that this jobs number is just a bad statistical number.
I mean, did somebody make it up to make the president look good? Is that what you're saying?
I am not saying that. There are those who are suggesting that. I am not saying. I just think that with how these numbers are collected, that you just naturally get, you can get a lot of variation in 1 year. And also remember that of those jobs, most of them are part-time jobs. And if you look at, there's another unemployment rate which counts part-time workers who wish they had full-time jobs and adds in back some of these discouraged workers. That rate, that didn't move at all. That's still almost 15%. That is kind of what I consider to be the true unemployment rate.
Wait, Jim?
So I think basically have a very slow economy.
Jim, can you say that again? Because I'm a loyal WLS listener and a Tribune columnist, and I use the broader U6 rate. Tell
right.
my
That's
colleague
exactly
again.
What I'm talking about, John. That
right.
U6 rate, which looks at part-time workers, all right, who wish they had full-time jobs, and also tries to add back in some of these discouraged workers. If you want a job, but you've been out there pounding the pavement, you just kind of stop looking, it's like you drop off the face of the map of the government. It's like you do not exist. It's like a South American government disappearing people back in the 70s. You don't exist.
Now,
add those people back, we have a 15% unemployment rate.
When people quit working for jobs, does the rate go up or down?
When people quit looking for jobs, it will actually tend to lower the unemployment rate. And then when they start looking for a job, they start counting them again as the unemployed. And over the past year, there have been 1 million people who the government just kind of quit counting.
So therefore, the way to measure in terms of jobs is not to listen to what David Axelrod will be clapping and dancing about, which is 7.8, but the broader U6 rate, which is 15.
Just over the past year, if all these people hadn't dropped out, just for the past year, the unemployment rate would be higher today than it was then. There's been no improvement in the unemployment market.
So then the 7.8, 8.2, 9 point, 4.9 under Bush, that means nothing.
No. Remember that when what we should be thinking of as a good unemployment rate is what it was before the recession and under President Bush at the low point. It was about 4.4%. To me, now that's an economy that's creating jobs and keeping people employed. What we have now, I wish it was a lot better, but it really just isn't.
So when the unemployment rate was at 10% and people were using that number to say, look, Obama's doing a bad job, that was okay then, but if it works in his favor, that's a bad number.
Well,
and people are going to say that.
10% unemployment rate also tended to understate how bad it was. Because I think at that point, I don't have the number in front of me, unfortunately, the U6 rate, which John was referring to, that was, I think, was close to like 18%.
Yeah, at least.
Not to mention so you really need. Listen, we can't delude ourselves. We have to see what is really going on with this economy, and then take the appropriate action. Not try to just find the best possible take on it and say everything's fine. We can just go about our business. This is the long recession, a long national emergency.
What do you make of, though, when you see the 7.8 number, that easy and incomplete number, in my opinion, referred to in the media as some sort of benefit to Obama politically? What do you make of that kind of economic shorthand in political reporting?
Well, listen, as I've listened to it covered today in the media, both on TV and radio, they keep referring to it as a strong economic report. The piece of evidence they have is at 7.8%. I think as we just discussed, that is a very distorted way to look at the economy. And I think ultimately people understand in their own lives, are they making more now than they were a year or two ago? Is their brother-in-law, did he find that job, or is he still looking after 18 months unemployed? They understand in their real lives. So I think ultimately, if the numbers don't connect with the people's real life experience, I think they discount the numbers.
With that, we're going to let you go, Jim.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot, guys.
Take care. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on and correcting my friend Jake.
He didn't correct anything.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Jim. Bye.
All right.
And now I can take the David Axelrod tinfoil hat off because I'm a free man once again.
No, you're not.
Jim has come to the rescue
I'm
and
going to get you a second hat. It's 10:44. Back after this on 89 WOS.
Everything here is fantastic.
89 WOS.
When you want to know what the candidates are saying, turn to your Common Sense election headquarters, 89 WLS.
10:51, Jake Hartford, John Kass. John, let's take some more calls.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go out to Maryville, Indiana. Sherry, you're on 89 WLS.
Yeah, I had heard this gentleman. This is the first time I've ever called, and I'm not very smart, but I do know that when I hear the truth, I know the truth. But he had said something about the unemployment. I said if you would look at the people that are on food stamps, you would see that people are not making money.
Well,
that would tell how there's I forget the number that's on food stamps right now and getting assistance.
46 million.
Yeah, and it's much higher than what it was. So
Correct.
That tells you that people are not working.
Well, nobody said it got 100% improved overnight. It's just that the indicator is such that the arrow is pointing down. It went down 0.3 of a point. That's all.
Well, I know that. I'm just saying that doesn't mean that people dropped out. They're not looking for work because they can't find work.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't want to say who I am because people might be listening to this and they'll know who I am.
Is Sherry your real name?
My name is Sherry, but I'm not telling you my last name.
Yeah, well, there's 1,000 million Sherrys out there.
Yeah.
In Maryville. Is Maryville your real town?
I'm a piano teacher. Now everybody will know who I am.
Hey, you turned yourself in. I didn't.
They always crack on themselves.
I'm only joking with you. But I know that a lot of my friends listen to this program, and we're all voting for Romney, that's for sure. And I'm just tired of this president that's in there now tearing our country down. And what ticked me off the most was that when I saw the video of him taking his shoes off on Muslim Prayer Day in 2009 and kneeling on a rug and bowing to Allah.
We've gotten away. All right, thank you, Sherry.
That's not the economy.
Jim on 39, you've got 1 minute.
All right, my 1 minute. The unemployment rate's going down in spite of President Obama, not because of him, and it's going down in states like Florida, Ohio, the lady from Indiana, in Wisconsin. It's not going down in states like Illinois and California that are run the way President Obama is running the country. So Republican ideas are what's driving unemployment down, not his policies.
Just put your tinfoil hat on. Put the tinfoil hat on before David Axelrod can channel you. I have to go and find out what happened to my partner, Jake Hartford.
All I'm saying, if Romney tries to make the stupid U6 argument that you're making...
Yeah, stupid. I guess I'm stupid because you don't like the number. But the number is worse. When it was 10% unemployment, it was worse than 10%. That's all I'm telling you. What's the real pain?
But 7.8 is better than 10. There you go. 10:54. Back after this.
Working hard or hardly working?
89 WLS.
An ABC News update is just minutes away. 89 WLS and online at WLSAM.com.
10:58. John Kass, Jake Hartford. People will be reading you this Sunday, right?
Yeah, I have a column this Sunday and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And if you want to reach me, it's jskass@tribune.com or on Twitter at John_Kass.
Tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, we have a lot of stuff we're going to get to, including the latest fad in Japan that's soon to be coming to Chicago as far as bars are concerned. And also, meningitis is around. 5 people are now dead, 30 severe cases of it. We're going to talk about that tomorrow morning because it's hitting Chicago. So we have a lot to cover tomorrow morning starting at 6. But right now it's Rush coming up at 11 o'clock. He'll give you his spin on the 7.8%. And then Rowan Roper will take care of your afternoon drive home right here from 2 until 6 on 89 WSC. Back with John and I next Monday.